Yo, 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 what is going on, everybody? It's Tuesday night. That means it's time for a Flyers Talk A2D. Tonight, we're talking about Jamie Drysdale, his injury, the ramifications of that. Does it affect the trade deadline coming up on March 8th, which is about, what, boys, 10 days away? We're also going to discuss a wild weekend of Flyers hockey it was against the Rangers and the Penguins. We're going to talk a little bit about that. Maybe discuss a little bit about the game tonight and what happened. And so don't forget to hit that like, hit that subscribe. Don't forget to hit that share button too. Turn on the notifications. Jump in the chat. Now it's time to talk some puck. Let's go.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to a brand new edition of the Hockey Happy Hour. I am Matt Sitsuti, along with, and I meant Flyers Talk on A2D. Got me that time. A 2-minute minor from myself. Anyway.
It's a process, Matty. It's a process.
It is.
8 years of a habit. You got to break. So it's all good, man.
All right. So while I serve my 2 minutes, I'd like to introduce, I am Matt Sitsuti. That is the Darkwing Brian Daly over there.
What's going on?
And that is Mr. Blue Shirt, Mr. Broadway, Mr. Switzerland, Big Bad Brad Ryer. And tonight on the show, we will be discussing, yes, the Jamie Drysdale injury and what will happen along with that. We'll also be talking about the weekend for the Flyers. It was a bit of a rough one. However, it was not a lack of scoring, that's for sure. And obviously, we'll give you any reactions we have to the up-and-coming third period that is currently about to face off between the Tampa Bay Lightning and the Flyers as we speak. But before we dive into any of that, talk to you about the doc, Dr. Paul Vidal over at Specialized Physical Therapy. If you got any aches and pains, anything that's bothering you to the point where you can't even work properly or do any of the things you like to do on your days off, hit up the doc. Make an appointment at www.specializedphysicaltherapy.com and then head over to either Cherry Hill or Burlington, New Jersey, and let the team of highly trained professionals over there take care of you. So that way you don't have any more aches and pains. You get back to doing the things you love and making sure that you can earn a nice little paycheck. That's important to do in this world. So with that being said, gentlemen, our poll question, and it is Jamie Drysdale's injury will change the dynamic of the trade deadline moves for the Flyers. Agree or disagree? And I believe the person to start that one off, I'm going to lead it on over to you, Darkwing, since you do have some documented history with young Jamie Drysdale.
Boy, do I. Oh. I love the kid. It's hard not to like him personally. He's such a good kid, great locker room guy, good player, but that left shoulder's been killing him. But anyway, I'm going to agree with the poll tonight here, boys. I think it's going to change the dynamic. He is week to week with a chance to come back before the end of the season. Now, if the Flyers wind up making the playoffs, I'm sure he's going to jump back into the fold there, but I definitely think it changes the dynamic a little bit because you lose your right-handed defenseman, your young right-handed defenseman who has been really good for the Flyers since coming over. Not necessarily always that point per game player, but he does a lot of the little things right. He's really flourishing in the system, I think. Such a great skater. I think what losing him is going to wind up doing is going to have to go out and get a rental defenseman, unfortunately. Maybe somebody a little bit older. Maybe just, you suck up a bad contract for the remainder of the year. I think that's really the only thing you can do unless you know he's coming back. Because we know Sealer's going to be traded because he's asking for more money than what he deserves. Although he's played really well this year, he deserves a contract extension. He deserves a raise. But from what I understand, he's asking for a substantial amount of money. Same thing with Sean Walker. He's looking for like 5.5 a year for his next contract. Those two guys are probably out the door. Lawton's a big question mark. Risto's a question mark. And there's going to be other guys that are going to be moved as well. But, the dynamic of this trade deadline for me was always going to be conservative seller. Now I think with Jamie being out, this makes you become a little bit more of a seller than a conservative seller, especially with the chance that he may not make it back. So you want to be able to cover your losses. Emil Andre, I think, is going to be a guy that's going to come up. I think he's going to be okay. If he does, another guy who potentially could, fill the spot, but it's going to wait till next year, depending on how serious this elbow injury or this shoulder injury is. Maybe Oliver Bonk gets a chance to crack the roster again this year. With Sealer and Walker possibly gone, that opens up 2 spots. And then a healthy Jamie Drysdale back with an Oliver Bonk, Cam York, Travis Sanheim. And depending on what else they do at the trade deadline, whoever else they could potentially get could be beneficial. So this injury could potentially be a blessing in disguise, as it is like a bit of a storm cloud, as it was. So.
Well, we had Chucks who chimed in saying, yo, what's going on, Chucks? We got Priz and Don out here. Priz saying, Lawton is still producing and you're about to be in the playoffs, and he had term left.
Yep, listen, I get it. And me and Brad were talking about it a little bit earlier on the Facebook page. This is still a rebuilding team, boys. Despite the fact that they're in a playoff spot and they're competing, this is still a rebuilding team. Briere and Jones still have that rebuilding mindset. They want to get younger in the prime places. And in order for that to happen, and in order to get some of these other younger guys spots on the roster, you got to move guys. And Lawton right now could be a good value to move because you can get a good return, because you have the term, because you have the leverage, because he's in a prime position that's very thin at this deadline. So you could potentially get a very good return for Scott Lawton. If the deal's right, I'm pulling the trigger on it.
I mean, you have to, only because you have to look at it from the perspective that Danny and Keith are looking at it. And, they understand that, while this team has managed to put together a nice season so far, and let's make no bones about the fact a lot of it is because the team bought into Tortorella and has been thriving off of that this whole season. And it's paid dividends, but at the same token, we also have to keep in mind, too, that doesn't mean that you change your entire thing. An older method that the Flyers would use would be to just double down here and then try to get in a big name. And then obviously that could set you back, because then it's like, well, you were going to do a rebuild. Then the Flyers had a good year. Then you decided to shit can the rebuild. And then you decided, hey, you know what we're going to do instead? We're going to double down on this roster and then try to make the playoffs these next few seasons. And then when it all fell apart, they tried to set it back up again for another one of those. They're trying to break that cycle. So if you got to do that, you got to make the trade, so be it. It's hard to say goodbye to players, but you got to do what you got to do. Priz does say also trading Superman should get you a wedgie in Town Square. So, on the outside looking in, Mr. Brad Ryer, how do you feel about this? Agree or disagree on Drysdale?
Yeah, I thought long and hard about this, because this is kind of a tough one, and I thought about it all day. I think that I don't think it is going to change it all that much, to be honest with you. I don't think the Flyer management is all in on this team right now. Okay, and after watching them play against the Rangers and watching the Penguin game, and I watched both games, guys. So this time I actually saw them close up and personal. Okay, that's a damn good team. I hate to see them break up that team right now, but I don't think that they've been serious about trying to get into the playoffs and make noise on it. I can understand why, because most likely in the first round, the way things are going, they're going to either have to play Carolina, the Rangers, Boston, or Florida. And to be quite honest with you, and I'm not saying this to be a hater, okay, I don't think they have a chance in hell to beat any of those
Oh,
teams in the playoffs.
there we go. What a play. Sorry there, Brad.
That's okay. Did they score?
They did. It is now
Good.
2-1 Flyers.
As I said, they're a damn good team. Okay. And, I realize that in the past, they probably would have helped. I think there's a couple of things they can do. I think they can sell and buy. Okay. So I'm going to say that the dynamic is that their dynamic at first is that they were going to sell all the way. I don't think that as far as their management is concerned, this is going to change things. I think they're going to sell. But if I were them, I would do both. Okay. If I could get myself a reasonably good backup goalie. Okay. I'm sorry. You guys can tell me whatever you want about Cal Peterson. He stinks.
Well,
He positive. He lost that Penguin game for you guys. Okay. You should have won that game. Okay. I mean, your team fought their butts off, continuously came back. I don't know what more your team could have done with that goalie in net. That was just terrible. It's too bad Ersson can't play twice, and I understand. You can't really do that to your goalie. But boy, oh boy, I mean, you see what a great defensive team they look like against the Rangers on Saturday, and how well they played. And I thought they played pretty darn well against the Penguins. Okay. And some of those shots that went in, I'm sorry, that didn't sit well with me. But I'm going to say it anyway. Okay. I would like to see them get a backup goalie, and I would like to see them get another veteran defenseman. Okay. If they're going to trade Lawton, okay. If you're going to get a first round pick, okay, God bless you. Get it. Okay. Because you'll never get that again for him. Okay. So that's, or if you're going to get a young, another team's top prospect, it doesn't always have to be a first round pick, guys. It can be somebody's top prospect too, that's actually played in the AHL. It's okay to do that.
Oh.
Just to make things clear, you're allowed to get another team's top prospect. It doesn't always have to be a first round pick. It can be a 19 or a 20-year-old player too,
That can happen.
Yeah.
Flyers did almost manage to make it 3-1 after Vasilevsky had to let the puck go, and the Flyers got a hold of it. Unfortunately, it was jammed into the side of the net before Hathaway could get there. Vasilevsky was about to handle the puck in the restricted zone and get himself penalized until he realized, oh, that's right, can't play the puck outside the trapezoid.
So
Dylan agrees with me.
I want to address this real quick because I agree with Jeffrey here. Sure. Jeffrey Hammond chiming in. Jeff, appreciate the comment. I agreed with most of what you said there, Brad. The only thing that I would disagree with is I'm not wasting assets on a backup goaltender. I'm going to either rock with Cal Peterson or I'm going to bring up Felix Sandstrom, and I'm just going to rock with those guys because Ersson's going to get the bulk of the starts anyway. So why waste the assets that could bring you a little bit of a better future on a rental backup that is probably going to start maybe how many games are left? 10 games if he's lucky.
22. There's 22, so he probably will play
we'll say 12.
So
yeah,
5, 6.
Well, all right. So 22 games left. Yeah, so you're probably looking at maybe 10 max. That to me, it's a waste of a trade in my opinion.
It depends who you're trading, Brian. If you're trading somebody that you really need to get rid of, say you're moving a contract, okay? Say you're trying to get rid of Risto, or you want to get rid of Stahl, okay, to bring somebody up, okay? It's not such a bad thing to do that.
It's not, but it's a waste if you're going to bring him in for 5 starts.
Yeah, but if it's somebody you can keep, that's relatively, that's a little bit of an upgrade. It is worth it to get it. To me, you see, you guys are making like it's not important for them to make the playoffs this year, and I really, really disagree with that. And the reason I disagree Is it 3-1? I hope.
It is 3-1 now, Flyers.
Yeah, I made a broad prediction last week that Tampa Bay is not going to make the playoffs, so now I'm kind of stuck on that.
So now you're hoping that this actually
Yeah, I want to
is
be
a win
right.
for
I
the
want to be
Flyers.
right at least once in my life.
So, by the way, for anyone who was wondering, Forster got the second goal for the Flyers. He made a nice little move and then got one by on his backhander.
He is one guy that I am very impressed with. You know who he reminds me of a lot of? JT Miller. Remember JT Miller? Oh,
yeah.
Of course you remember him. I mean,
how could you not?
Well, I remember him very well as a Ranger because he was really good. And this guy looks like the same kind of player, except he does play defense, which is probably why the Rangers got rid of him, because he wasn't at that point. JT Miller wasn't.
Right.
Even though I disagreed with the move at the time, because for whatever reason Vigneault hated him. We all know about him. But in any event, that's who he kind of reminds me of, guys. But I do think there is value. I want to get back to this real quick. There's value in them making the playoffs. And I look at it, and again, I'm looking at it through what happened with the Rangers, okay? When they got to play in that series when they didn't deserve to make the playoffs in the COVID year, when they got to play against Carolina, they may have gotten smoked, but a lot of those young players that they had just gotten, okay, like Adam Fox, Capo Caco, to name a couple, I think it was very valuable that they got some playoff experience. And it wasn't a bad thing for them to get beat up like that, because you know what? They learned what it took to get there and what it would take to try to win a series. Now, obviously, the following season, things didn't go quite the way they wanted them to go, but they were able to incorporate Shesterkin the following season. So that was a good thing too. But then the next season, they got all the way to the semifinals. And everybody thought that they were a year everybody thought that they were a year early doing that as well. Everybody was expecting it to be last year to be the year. Nobody thought that 2 years ago would be the year. I mean, this Flyer team is good. I was really, really impressed with how they played. And again, I was impressed with the way they played Sunday. I just hated that goalie. That goalie really annoyed me that he was that bad. It's like, you know what? Stop a damn football, buddy. Come on. Ridiculous. Just awful. So what I would say is, watch the waiver wires, and see if there's somebody out there who might give you a little bit of value. If you can pick up somebody for next to nothing and try to upgrade it, I would do it.
If we're going to go down the waiver wire, I am okay with that, but I'm not trading for a backup goalie just to make the playoffs. It's a waste of an asset for a rebuilding team.
But a lot of teams
need the draft picks.
You're going to see a lot of guys going through the waiver wire, especially when some of these top-notch goalies, if some of these top-notch goalies get traded, there's going to be a trickle-down effect. Guys are going to get sent to the minors. They're going to be sent down. They're going to get sent down, and they're going to have to get put through waivers. That's an opportunity for the Flyers to pick somebody up.
And I'm okay. I'd be okay with that if they picked up a backup goaltender through waivers. I'm just not trading for one.
Okay, but I'm just telling you, there's more than one way to skin a cat. That's all.
Oh, I know, and I understand that. But
and so why not? I mean, if you can do it, then again, because I don't think I look at Peterson, and to me, if he plays 6 games, you're probably going to lose 4 out of 6. You're going to have a hard time beating anybody. I mean, you've got to have solid goaltending in every one of these games. I think, and again, I think for your team's development, for some of these young guys, it's very important for them to make the playoffs, even if they get clobbered in the first round. Okay, who cares? Some of these guys, you want to talk about development and building character on the team. Getting to the playoffs, that'll wake them up. They'll see what it's like, and it'll just make them that much better next year. That's all I got, guys.
Okay. So
that's just my point. I look at what happened with the Rangers, and I think the same thing can happen with the Flyers, and they're a very similar type of situation.
So right now we have Joe saying, I can tell I'm back to being 100% invested in this team because that Penguins game fucking infuriated me. tired legs, and sloppy defense, but the team still scored 6 and should have won if Peterson would have made a single save. He let in 4 softies.
He's not wrong.
Yeah, and listen, I'm not disagreeing that Cal Peterson is garbage because I've been saying this for 3 years after he got sent down to the Kings AHL team. Like,
well, okay. Here's the thing. Let's be a little fair to the Flyers. They're just a victim of circumstance when it really comes to Cal Peterson. I don't think they had any intention of him really having much of a presence on here. Unfortunately, due to what has happened, Cal now has to come into the position of backup. Now, to be fair, you could always just go with Sandstrom instead, and I might actually prefer Sandstrom, and maybe roll with him instead since he already has played up here and he's already played some decent games with the Flyers. So maybe
like
just go with him instead.
There's 22 games left. It's really not the end of the world if the backup goalie loses a game here or there. He's a backup for a reason.
Understood.
It's not a situation where it was like early in the year where Hart and Urson were playing so well that you have to platoon both of them.
Right.
We know that Sandstrom's not that great. We know that Peterson's not that great. We know that there's younger goaltenders coming up. They're just not here yet. They haven't developed enough to get to the point where they can sit there and be like, oh, well, maybe we'll give this kid a chance.
Dylan saying also, we're a little over a week away from the trade deadline. I'm waiting for Conroy to fleece the league for Hanifin, Tanev, and Markstrom.
I don't know about Markstrom. Markstrom doesn't seem to want to leave. He seems to like Canada, so I don't know about him.
Well, maybe he'll go to Montreal.
As long as he doesn't go to the Devils.
Right.
Yeah.
Joe also says Flyers also should have beaten the Rangers, outplayed them for 40 minutes, but you can tell Rangers are the better team because their goalie played better and the Rangers took advantage of their opportunities, whereas the Flyers hit like 4 posts. That, and they also had a parade to the penalty box.
Rangers also hit a few posts too, guys.
They did, but I think the biggest problem with the Flyers in that game, way too many penalties. They were awful in their discipline in that game. And then on top of it, obviously, infamous moment that he'll hopefully make up for soon. Coots missing a wide open net, pinging it off the post with just seconds left to go. Oh, that boiled my blood.
Quarter inch.
I know. It boiled my blood so bad. I was actually yelling at the screen. I'm like, oh, and another goal for the Flyers. It is now 4-1.
I actually got yelled at work for reacting to that. They're like, you need to calm down. I'm like, he just hit the inside of the post with like 4 seconds left. They could have tied the game. He's like, I understand. We're all Flyers fans here, but we're still in a retail store. I'm like, well, I mean, to be fair, we do close in like 3 minutes. So is it really that big of a deal?
Is there really anybody there yet?
Actually, there were a couple people there. I didn't know there was anybody in the store.
Okay.
Oh, well, there you go.
Well, listen, if they're hockey fans, they will understand.
Oh, they got it. They knew.
Yeah, they're probably mad too.
By the way, Sanheim got the 3rd goal for the Flyers, and Sean Walker got the goal that was just scored. Just up in the trade value for him.
So what's the score now? 4-1?
4-1. Flyers have 22 shots to the Lightning 16.
I'm telling you, the Tampa Bay's not going to make the playoffs.
Vazzy has not really looked well tonight either.
He hasn't looked good all season, guys.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, I'm not afraid of playing them in the first round of the playoffs.
Maybe his fuse blew. He can't do it anymore. Just stick a fork in him. Take that old horse around the barn.
Vazzy hasn't been the same since he came back from injury. But I mean, we'll give him the benefit of the doubt this year. It goes to continue to say that even the best goaltenders in the world are still human.
Right.
He just may not be fully healthy from that injury.
Maybe.
That too, yeah.
I mean, I think that's what happened with Igor Shesterkin in the first half of the season. When he got hurt in that Calgary game, he was out for almost a month. And when he came back, he was awful. And he was awful for an extended period. He was awful for the entire month of January. They get a week off for the All-Star break. And now all of a sudden, Igor is playing like his old self again. So sometimes that's that's what it takes. Sometimes these guys just come back too soon, and unless they get a nice long rest, they don't
They don't perform.
They can't perform as well.
Joe's also saying the Flyers are now 0-4 against the Devils, Rangers, Pittsburgh in the last 4 games, and that shit pisses me off. It's all right. We already beat Pittsburgh 3 times. We were just feeling bad for them. And then for the Rangers, we still got 2 games left against them. So the season series isn't over with them.
Yeah, you guys have played better this season on the road. Although playing in the Garden the Rangers have also played a lot better at home than they have on the road too.
Not an enviable task. So there you go.
I do think you'll win. I do think you'll win one of the games, though.
Yeah,
I do think you. I don't think we're going to sweep you this year. I think you guys are going to win a game for that. That's just they're good. I was really impressed with how they play. They have that Tortorella defense down tight. They don't give it where they don't give a lot of room. They cut the ice. They cut the ice in half. They're extremely aggressive on the penalty kill. The only problem is they should really start declining their power play. Like, can they decline and just play 4-on-4? Because I don't know what the problem is with them on their power play, but they don't do anything. It's like they all stand around and they don't know what they're supposed to do. I don't get it. How can you be so good killing penalties and so dangerous? I mean, I think they said, what did they say on the game Sunday? One of the announcers said on the game Sunday that they've scored 24 power play goals this season, and they've scored, I think, 12 or 13 shorthanded goals. So that's like you've only scored 11 more goals on your power play than you have on shorthanded situations.
Right.
That's bizarre. I mean, they're real. You can understand why they score a lot when they're shorthanded, because they've got that headman pass down to a science the way they do that. It's remarkable how good they are at that. And they skate, and it's never like a low percentage pass. It's like they're able to get the puck along the boards. They shoot it off the boards, and then the puck goes down the middle, and somebody's always right there to get the breakaway. It's remarkable how they do that.
Right.
It's like the opposite of Tampa Bay right now. They can't play pretty well 5-on-5, but when it comes to the power play, they're still unstoppable.
Yeah, but you know what? If you stay out of the penalty box, they're not good anymore.
Which is what the Flyers are doing. They're staying out of the penalty box, which is something that I had a real big issue with them over the weekend. It's just like too many penalties. Just like, what are you doing?
Especially against the Penguins.
Right. It's just like, guys, I know they're rivals, and I know you want to play a little bit more with a chip on your shoulder, get a little chippy out there, but there's a line that you don't want to cross, and the refs are going to be looking a little harder in this game than they would, say, against Flyers versus Tampa. So it's like, come on, guys, be a little bit more disciplined than that. But Heel Chrome, what's up, Chrome? Saying, I'm with you, Brad. I know the Flyers weren't expected to make the playoffs, but you're here now. Prime striking position. It's just as helpful for these young guys to finish what they started.
Thank you, Chrome, because that's exactly what I'm trying to say.
And Chrome, since you are a heel, Chrome, I'm going to assume that you're a Logan Paul fan because you threw in Prime in your comment in there. Just, wanted to. I saw that. You're not going to let that slip by me. Just letting you know.
I hate Logan Paul. Can't stand him. But that's the conversation for another day.
By the way, that guy Harkins, does he have any physical talent on him, or does he just go around headhunting like that?
Good question. Actually,
that was such an obvious shot to the shoulder. Anybody who wonders why it's always an upper body injury or a lower body injury when teams announce injuries, that is the prime example of what we're talking about. Okay, because a jerk like that guy Harkins goes and he makes plays like that, and now Jamie Drysdale is injured again. And it's awful because it's a legal check because you can obviously hit a guy in the shoulder, but it's disgusting.
Yeah,
if somebody did that to Crosby, they probably get a match penalty.
I have no issue with the hit. I have no issue with the hit whatsoever.
Yeah, but
Jamie put himself in a vulnerable position and he got clocked.
Yeah, but he aimed, and that's what annoys me about it. You could see he was aiming for the guy's shoulder, and that
It was
to
either
me.
the shoulder or the head. I mean, this is a lose-lose situation for the guy.
No, I realized that, but you could tell he was looking for that. They wanted to nail him, and there was no
For
reason.
what reason?
He was
All right.
because
Listen,
they're the Penguins.
Wait, time. We have to let everybody know out there that to like, subscribe, hit that bell for all those notifications. One more time, like, subscribe, hit that bell for all the notifications here, because if you guys like what you're hearing, or if you disagree with us completely and you wish to say how completely dumb we are, please feel free to make sure you have all the content available to you so that you can do that. And if you do agree with us, thank you. We very much appreciate that. So, all right, back to it.
No, all I'm saying is the lose-lose situation for Haskins. If he hit the head, it's a problem. He hits him in the shoulder. It's an unfortunate hit. Jamie did that to himself. I hate it because it was the shoulder that he just had surgery on. He just came back from. But right now, the way it's looking like it was a lose-lose situation. I don't blame Haskins or whatever his name is at all. That was a good, clean hit. It was a hard hit. Jamie put himself in bad position. And he paid the price. Keep your head up and keep your body up, dude.
Well, yeah. No, listen. You're right. I don't like the fact that there was no reason to hit him like that. Hit him so hard like that. He's in the middle of the freaking ice, and he's just trying to get the puck. I mean, okay, you can. As I said, I think there was a little extra zest that didn't need to be there. If he was standing in front of the net, then all bets are off. Okay, if he was standing in the slot, all bets are off. But he wasn't really in a dangerous spot on the ice.
But I think it's just one of those.
That's my only issue.
It's one of those things of it's a rival team.
Yeah. I know. I realize that.
Yeah, it's just one of those things where they're going to hit you way harder than they would, say, a team from. They're not going to hit the St. Louis Blues that hard.
Or the
Coyotes. Yeah.
It is what it is. It's hockey. These guys.
Oh, I know.
Fine. It's hockey. You can't take a hit, then you're playing the wrong sport. Go play soccer.
I just hate seeing that. I really.
I mean, I do too. But in that same breath, like, what was he going to do? Like, face a suspension for head and get a reputation for head hunting, or to clock the guy in the shoulder? He did it. He was supposed. He had a job to do, and he did it.
Okay.
Jamie's got to keep his head up.
So
I'm sure he's going to learn his lesson. He does,
and I mentioned that too. But again, I just think the guy kind of he kind of overdid it a little bit. I just don't think there was any need to hit him like that. And listen, I like hard hits. You know, I love what Jacob Trouba does. I think Matt Rempe, when he hit Nate Bastian last week and he got a match penalty for that, I thought that was totally bogus. You know, so it's not like I don't like good hard hits, but I don't, you know, there's got to be a point to it. You know, there's got to be a really good reason to do it. You don't just. Oh, anyway.
So Jeff Hammond, once again, thank you, throwing in a question: is Urson the guy? And if not, what do we need to see or do to address that? I feel like we all thought it was Hart's team, and Urson was a good or / great backup. Landscape has changed. What now? I would say Urson is the guy right now. As of him being the guy, that's a harder question to answer at this point. Because, again, there are still young players in the pipeline that we have yet to see in goaltending. And who knows what could happen when they show up. For now, though, it is Urson's net. And Peterson's not going to take it from him. We know that for a fact. We also know that Sandstrom's not going to do it either. So, again, we have to wait and see. Like I said, there's a few goaltenders in the pipeline that we have yet to see anything of. So we'll have to wait and see. As for the whole thing, with what they're going to do now with him, I would just say they're just going to rock with him unless there's a change somewhere down the line that has to be made. Until then, Urson's here, and he's going to be the new front man, so to speak, for the Flyers moving forward.
I think you could do a lot worse than him.
True. The way that he's been playing,
I
could
think
do
he's
far
pretty,
worse.
I think he's pretty good.
I agree.
You know?
I think he's the guy.
I think he's pretty good. You know what? If you guys end up with somebody in your system that overtakes him, hey, God bless. You know, good for you, good job. But you know what? I don't think he's a detriment. I think he's a valuable asset. You just leave him alone. You know, you have to rest him every once in a while, though. How many more back-to-back games do you guys have? I guess that's the question. Because really,
to add on to it,
the only way I'd use him is in a back-to-back situation. Otherwise, I'd rock with Urson and take my chances.
the one thing to keep in mind with Urson too is he's 23 years old. He's still developing too.
Right.
So,
yeah,
he's
playing
well now.
But he's going to get better.
Progress.
Yeah. And he might get better if he plays more too.
Oh, of course.
You know, the more he plays, just remember, the more he plays and the more they're fighting for the playoffs, the more ready he's going to be next season if they're able to get somebody in the offseason so they can take the next step.
So another thing, and Jeff said also, I don't hate it at all. Just wanted to get your sense on it. But yeah, I mean, I'm not complaining. Urson's performed very well, and hopefully he'll continue to do so as we move forward. You know, he's on
great work ethic. So
right.
That's one of the things that he carries himself on. He's, some of these young goalies, especially nowadays, so the work ethic is second to none, and that's what's going to keep him getting better every game. But I mean, the other thing we also have to remember too is the days of the 60 goal starters, 60 game goalie starters, it's gone. So
right, they don't do that anymore.
No, 50 to 55 at the most.
Tampa did just score. So it is now 4-2. By the way, as Joe pointed out, they had the net empty the entire time. Literally, they had from 9:20, they had an empty net.
Well, the Flyers will end up getting an empty net goal. It's just that's like it's a matter of time when you do that.
It's a bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see if it pays off for him.
Right.
They like to take chances like that. That's kind of Cooper's style.
Looks like that goal was put in by the captain, Steven Stamkos. And the shame of it is Urson did get it with his paddle. Unfortunately, he didn't get enough of it. It angled off of it and into the net, unfortunately. But Heel Chrome saying Flyers only have 2 more back-to-backs this Friday and Saturday, and then March 23rd and 24th. So, yeah, I mean, overall, which is good. I'm happy that there's only 2 more back-to-backs because there was way too many in the first half of the season for them. So it's good to see that they only have 2 coming up.
Oh, then they don't really have. Then they can actually play him almost every game. As long as there's no back-to-back, you don't want to play a guy back-to-back because that's how they pull muscles and get hurt. But if he's 23, he can play most of the games now.
Right.
And still not go crazy because, I mean, Hart played a lot of games before.
That's true. Don saying, go Flyers, beat the Lightning, no agenda from me. No, none at all, Don. You are being completely unbiased here with that comment.
Yeah, and you just you guys did win 8-3 tonight, so and you did the Flyers a rather big favor because you did it to the Capitals, who just happened to be 4 points behind the Flyers, and I think they have like 3 games in hand, and
they just so happened to be playing the Flyers on Friday.
Yeah, so the Flyers gaining 2 points on Washington, that'll work in Flyer land.
Oh, there's 3 more back-to-backs, April 5th and 6th. So we're ending the season on a back-to-back? Okay.
Damn it, Chrome, why you always lying to us?
He's Heel Chrome. He can't. That's all he does is lie. What are you talking about?
Oh, boy. I'll still take Heel Chrome over Logan Paul every day of the week. And twice on Sundays.
Oh.
He did Randy Orton dirty. Don't even get me started on that.
Oh man.
Randy
Although
Orton should be going to WrestleMania, not Drew McIntyre.
I'm
Putting
not
that
gonna
out
lie
there.
though. I've been digging what Drew's been doing. It's been hilarious every
Oh,
week
it's been
on
good.
Raw.
Oh,
And
it's
digging
definitely
into
good.
Punk. Oh my god, it is great.
Oh,
But
it's been
anyway,
real good. But yeah, back to hockey.
back to hockey. So let's see. Jeff's saying, love the combo. There hasn't been much to chat about for a few years. Exciting times ahead for the Flyers, though. Thanks for hosting, boys. Oh, no problem, Jeff.
We
No
appreciate
problem
it,
at
Jeff.
all.
Hit
Yes,
that like,
thank
hit
you.
that subscribe, brother. We're here every
Absolutely.
Tuesday night, 9 o'clock.
Absolutely. And
Appreciate you chiming in, bro.
he said, no, they play 4 more games after that last back-to-back. They end April 16th. Oh, okay. So they're ending April 16th against the Caps, which actually could benefit us very much because if the Caps continue to suck, that will be good news. And already there. Thank you, Jeff. That's
My
what we're
man.
talking about, brother. Thank you. Thank you. All right. So as we wind down the third period, it's about 5 minutes left in the game. Net is still empty for the Lightning. So they're hoping that their bold strategy continues to pay off for them. Person saying that Stankoven scored his second goal so far.
Praise is huge on Stanky.
Yes, he
Because
is.
he's going to be a major prospect, major player for the Dallas Stars moving forward.
Oh, okay, correction. I'm sorry. The net is not empty anymore. Vazzy is back in there. Although I don't think it really makes much of a difference. They were doing better without him in net. So
He'll be, you know what, every time you have a face-off in the offensive zone, they have a face-off in the offensive zone, look for him to come out.
right. Well, he did come out after it came back the other way, and the Flyers turned it right back around and put it into the empty net. So now it's 5-2.
There you go. When you pull the goalie, you have a good chance. If you can keep the puck in the offensive zone, you have a very good chance to score. But, once the other team gets the puck, all bets are off.
Right. Donna say, who's better, No Net or Peterson? I'm going to say No Net because I think some of the D-men could probably get in there and make some good saves. No, you're not. I know you're not kidding, Don. Sorry, you were totally serious when you asked that.
I can't say I blame him.
And saying, hey guys, am I the only one who wants to re-sign Walker? I'd rather keep him and trade Sealer. Yeah, I don't think the Flyers are against re-signing him. It's just that from what Brian's saying, it's just too much money right now for Walker.
They're not happy with what Steelers are asking for to resign. The report out on signing Walker, he wants $5.5 mil after this season.
Now, you can't pay him that.
No, because you've got so much else you got to worry about, moving forward.
You've got like 3 defensemen in the pipeline that are ready to come up. So
right. You got to do what you got to do. You don't want to handcuff yourself. Not right now. Not after you said you were going to start rebuilding.
Isn't Risto due back soon too?
Yeah.
No, he's out week to week.
Oh, he is out week to week.
He's out week to week too.
But still, I mean, you run into a situation too. You don't want to do that where you sign him to a deal like that because it's similar to what Risto got. I think Risto might have actually gotten more. And you don't want to put yourself a little less. Oh, okay. Still, either way, though, you don't want to put yourself in that position where you sign a guy to a deal. And I'm not saying Walker has played bad. Risto that's a whole different ballgame. But at the same time, even if Walker's been playing well, what if he has a mediocre year next year and then you got him for another 4 years and you can't offload that contract? And you're blocking another young guy in the pipeline, which is the big issue. So, yeah, it's just they're doing what they got to do to make sure they can get young players back up on the roster. And they've been doing that so far pretty solidly. And the young guys have shown what they're capable of. And you know what? That's okay. A rebuilding team, Sealer and Walker, have helped us out a lot. And they've earned the right to go someplace else that's ready to pay them that kind of money for that kind of length. So good for them. And that's what a lot of veterans do. A lot of guys go into rebuilding teams and they earn a good rep. I mean, for example, San Jose, awful year, but Blackwood's actually not played all that bad in goal. It's not really his fault. The team just sucks at the end of the day. You could look at a situation like maybe a team might actually take a shot on Mackenzie Blackwood again.
Peter Mrazek is a good example of that too, but I think he signed an extension, didn't he?
He did. I think he got a 2-year extension.
From Chicago. I mean, he
just can't score.
Yeah, Yeah, he's been great. I mean, I
Look
think
at
his goals against is under 3 with
it is.
like that. That's
No,
That's
you're spot on, Brad. But the problem, like I said, the problem with Chicago is they can't score. They got the lowest
yeah, I know.
goals for in the league.
Yeah,
Right.
It's
Right.
under 3. Like they're scoring of roughly 2 goals a game. And look at Bedard's stats. Like it's stupid. But to build off of what Maddie was saying about Walker's going to be 32 next year.
Right.
And he's had the best year of his career by far here in Philly. His value is high. There's a lot of teams looking to add defensemen this year.
Yeah, but how many years is he going to
Take advantage? Don't
He
matter.
wants
At this point, don't
multiple
matter.
years.
You're asking 5.5 at 32 years old, and you only have one good year under your belt. I'm not paying that. I'm going to ship you off while you have the value.
He's the kind of guy. He's the kind of guy you sign for 1 year.
Right.
I agree. He's a third pairing defenseman too. No third pairing defenseman gets 5.
Oh no. If he's a third pair defenseman, then you don't pay. You can't be paying a third pair defenseman more than maybe $2-3 million. You can't.
Same thing with Sealer. I'd give Sealer about 3 with the year that he's had.
By the way, York just scored another an empty netter there, so it's 6-2 Flyers.
So this ball game's over, guys.
Pretty much. Joe's saying salary cap with the ESPN money coming in has to go up next year, right? Which I believe it is.
Like it's going to go up like $3 million next year, from from everything I've heard.
And saying, is there any goalie who can get on waivers so we could send Peterson down? Anyone's better than Peterson. Just bring Sandstrom up. They're just swap him out for Sandstrom. You're basically getting the same. So, well, by the way, guys, look down there. Like, subscribe, notification. Hit the bell. Don't forget the bell. Don't ignore it. Did I tell you to hit the bell? Hit the bell. Honestly, I would just swap him out with Sandstrom. I mean, Peterson's that bad, and he probably is. He is.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah, so just roll with Sandstrom. I mean, you might actually get a little bit better performances out of Sandstrom than you would Peterson. I'm not saying spectacular, but better.
Like me and Brad were talking about earlier, like I'm not trading for a backup, but if there's a good one that drops on waivers, I'll take a chance. I will absolutely take a chance. The only thing I'm not doing for a backup is trading for one.
Right.
Unless you're getting somebody, if it's for like Mark Stahl, that maybe you do it.
Donna saying, question, who's the biggest name potential to get traded?
The biggest name to get it's going to get traded this year?
I'm going to
Stamkos.
I'm actually going to say Elias Pettersson.
Interesting.
You the guy on Vancouver?
Mm-hmm.
You think they trade him when they're trying to win a cup?
He does not want to resign.
Yeah, but you know what? Then he's their pickup. Then I mean, but you can't trade him unless it's a hockey trade.
I've seen a couple mock trades, and I think the one that makes sense the most, and I hate to say it, is the one that Elias Pettersson winds up on the Rangers.
And how are they gonna end up paying for him? The Rangers, they have $5 million in cap space, but what is Vancouver gonna want from that?
They'll give him the one. They'll give him the deal they
Mika
gave.
Zibanejad is in this mock trade is the big piece heading back.
Mika Zibanejad has a no trade contract until the end of the season.
Listen. That doesn't.
I don't know where you heard that.
To go to Vancouver.
Do you really think he's going to want to leave New York?
Joe's saying Gabe Perreault to Vancouver would make me happy.
Well, actually, Gabe Perreault was actually part of that deal. It's a mock
they're
trade.
Not going to trade. They're not trading Gabe Perreault. I've already read a million things about the Rangers, and there are 2 guys that aren't going anywhere. Offman and Perreault are going nowhere.
I think
that's a non-starter.
Going back to Zibanejad, I think as long as he has a chance to win, I think he would consider waiving his no trade clause.
Well, Prism's saying someone's going to pay the farm for Saros for the goldfish tank for Gibson.
Mm-hmm. Somebody will.
Yeah. Well, Saros is good.
He is. He's the reason why the Predators have even been somewhat remotely relevant this year.
Yeah,
he's been linked. He's been linked heavily. Saros has been linked heavily to the Devils. But that also depends on the playoff position that Nashville is in moving forward. Because
Right.
their young goaltender, their future franchise goaltender, is ready to come up. So they may just trade their backup for like a 6th or 7th round pick or whatever, and then bring him up.
Well, again, they trade him. They're not going to make the playoffs. So I don't see a scenario where they do that.
This kid's better than Saros.
No, Saros is probably the best available goaltender right now.
No. I'm saying this young kid that Nashville has coming up is better than Saros.
Is he better than Rene was?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
This kid is outstanding.
Well, you got to see him in the NHL before you can positively say that, because you just don't know.
But they said the same thing about Igor, and look at him. He didn't even play. He didn't even play a lick of NHL hockey before the hype behind him got real.
Yeah, but he had a goals against average under 1 in the KHL, and KHL is pretty good.
I'm not disputing that. What I'm saying is this kid. This is another Russian goaltender. I don't know if he's playing in the KHL or not, but this kid has a lot of hype behind him, and they're saying he's going to be better than Saros. He could even be better than Pecorine.
Yeah, but is he right now?
Yes. Here, I'll get his stats for you.
Okay. So while you do that,
I want to hear
official.
This. Again, I don't know. I don't know who this guy is you're talking about, but I believe you. I'd like to hear what his stats are.
So while Bri brings up the stats for that young gentleman, it is official. Flyers win 6-2, the final score, as John's got here. And that officially gives the Flyers 69 points, just one away from breaking 70,
Giggity.
Which is wonderful news. And Prism saying he played in the KHL. I'm assuming referring to the Predators prospect that you're speaking on.
Okay. What was his stats in the KHL?
Well, he says his save percentage was .951 from Priz.
Oh, geez. Okay.
Yaroslav Askarov. He was the first. Yeah, Askarov. He was the first goaltender taken in his draft, and he was taken high in the first. You remember what I'm talking about, Maddie?
I remember who you're talking about. I remember that name popping up. Yep.
Hang on, let me pull up his stats. I just had to get his.
If he has a .951 save percentage in the KHL, then enough said.
If I remember correctly, I think he was on a Russian team, or not a Russian team, but a Russian athlete team. And he performed really well in a tournament, and everybody was going crazy over how talented he was.
Okay, just give me 1 second here, boys.
There was also rumors that I heard about him when they were going to do the World Cup of Hockey again, that they would have had him be the goaltender for the equivalent of Team Russia. They probably won't call it Team Russia, but the equivalent of same.
So, all right. Oh, come on. Give me the full thing. What is going on here? All right. I'm going to check another website real quick, but so he's played 3 games in the NHL, 2 this year. In 2 games, he's got a 1.47 goals against and a 943 in 2 games with the Nashville Predators. He is played in 29 games with the Milwaukee Admirals with a 2.11 goals against and a 920 with 5 shutouts with a 21-7-1 record.
That's pretty impressive.
Okay. I could see why you would want to trade Saros and get this kid up as soon as possible.
Yep, that's.
But if they stay in the playoff hunt, they say they might even just swap out their backup so they can get this kid up here.
They might as well.
They might as well do that. That's what I would do, and then let them take over next year. But you don't want to ruin. I mean, look, it's about revenue, right? And business, you get playoff games, you make more money.
And I will say this, though, if this kid is as good as those stats will tell you he is, then quite frankly, the Predators may not, if they stay in the hunt for the playoffs, not just because of, even if it's just because of Saros, it really won't matter. Because once he takes over, it'd be like, doesn't matter. This kid's so good, he could single-handedly get this team in. It doesn't matter. And maybe even upset a first-round opponent.
Yeah. Joe, he's already on his ELC, bro. He's been playing in the AHL, dude. Putin ain't calling him back.
He can't get called back now. He can do whatever he wants now.
That's because he's already free.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly.
Putin says, "You come back and fight in Ukraine." He says, "No, I'm staying here in the NHL, and I'm getting into country music."
I know country music. I love country music.
I do not, but
Not for me either.
Kid is Askarov is going to be. He's going to be a special goaltender.
see,
Yeah,
that
that's-
explains it. Because, like I said before, they were talking about doing another World Cup of hockey, and they talked about Askarov possibly representing the equivalent of the Russian team.
Yeah.
So it's like, geez, that says a lot about how much they have behind him. Just saying, Brian loves that new Beyonce song.
Listen, I'm gonna be real. I've never heard it. I know of it. I know she wrote some country song, but I've never heard it.
Chris saying he was on my list of goalies when y'all did the 10-year draft that I graded.
Mhm.
Oh, okay.
Forget whose list he was on. He obviously he was on Priz's, but I think he was either on me or Robbie's list too.
One of the two.
It might have been Robbie's list.
So, with that being said, about 5 minutes left, gentlemen. Any major notes you wanted to throw out there with Drysdale and with the weekend that the Flyers had here? Anything that was not touched that you want to throw out?
Loved it. I love this weekend. Like, despite the fact that the Flyers had 2 losses, it's really showed you what this team is truly made of. When the atmosphere is high, against a tough team like the Rangers, they hang around. When you play a team like Pittsburgh, they hang around. Pittsburgh going back and forth all game, and they're just sticking with them. Loved seeing it. Love the resiliency of this team. They may not win every game, but the effort is usually there 9 out of 10 games. You can't hate on that. And I can't believe nobody's brought this up yet, but you love seeing that old school hockey fight between Rempe and Nick Delorier.
That was a heck of a
big
fight.
dogs just throwing fists. And listen, I could definitely call that a draw, but I'm not going to because Rempe wound up on his back, so the win goes to Delorier.
Oh, come on, Brian. And as soon as he landed on his back, he reversed him and he would have killed him. And Rempe hit him about 5 times in the face.
Don't matter.
Oh, sure it does.
No, it doesn't. If you hit me 5 times in the face, I hit you once, you wind up on your back. It's game over.
No. Let me tell you something, okay? What Delorier did was a vaginal move, okay? Pulling the jersey over his head.
Stop it.
He was getting
His plate strap wasn't
kicked.
even down. He should have gotten a freaking penalty for that. Knock it off. This is old school hockey.
That was a whip move. And
Get
as soon
over
as
it.
as soon as they got on the
over it.
ground, Rempe reversed him and he would have killed him. Come on.
Please, that wasn't going to happen because they actually have the respect for each other that once they hit the ice, they stop. And Delorier is the type that will stop no matter what the situation
So
is.
will Rempe. He's not going to do that.
So then Nick Delorier got the win.
Player. No, he didn't.
Yes, he did.
No, he didn't.
He's the one that knocked over Rempe.
He got hit hard.
I'm going to say this right now.
He was actually stunned a couple of times when he got hit in the face. Did you see Delorier's face?
Yes, I did. But I also
like
saw
a freaking
him take
pizza.
down Rempe.
Okay, two things, guys.
He looked like a pizza.
So
because he
who
got
was
his
the one
brains,
on his back?
he got his brains beaten.
Who was the one on his back?
It was more like a
Who was the
slip
one
than
on his
anything
back?
else.
Tell me that one. Who was on his
Because
back?
he
Who
had a
was on
fight
his back?
like a girl.
Who was on his back? It's a question.
Who fought like a girl?
Who wound up on his
Who fought
back?
like a girl?
Who wound up on his back?
Who has a pizza face?
So?
Okay, so we're
why he has a
two
pizza
things.
He's got a much longer reach on
Two
Delorier.
things, guys. Two things. All right.
All Rempe did was take a bunch of punches on his shoulder because he couldn't reach his head. Because Rempe's so big and kept his arms out.
Two things.
And yet,
Two
Rempe
things,
was
guys.
the one who still wound up on his back. So
Because he pulled a jersey over his head.
Which is a normal thing that you see.
It's not uncommon occurrence in a hockey fight.
That's vaginal fighting. Sorry.
Yeah, if Rempe did it to Delorier, you'd be giving him the Oh yeah, that was a great hockey fight.
No, I would say that he resorted to Rob Ray vaginal fighting. That's what
We
I
got
want.
30 seconds to go, Matty. Get us out of here,
All right,
brother.
but 2 things before we finish this up. 1, unofficial, official. When you're down, you lose the fight. Secondly,
Bingo.
it
Thank
doesn't
you.
matter if you win
I
or
totally
lose.
disagree
What
that
matters is how your team reacts. If your team still gets the win, didn't matter if you won or lost the fight. You still won. Doesn't matter at the end of the day. If you lost, that is
fired
all
up.
done, guys.
Fired up
Specialized
both
physical
teams.
therapy. Call the doc, Dr. Paul Vidal. All right, everyone. Take it easy out there. Stay safe. Stay healthy. Peace, everyone.